Okay, you are welcome again. Let's now look at our entry module 2. In the first video, we'll talk about our entry modules. The first one there, we have entry without indicator or with indicator. In this module now, entry module 2, we're going to be looking at change of character or direction type of entry. And all we have to do, first of all, let's try to understand what that means. In a selling market, when price at the supply zone, we can see that when price get to a monthly supply zone, if for example the market is selling market, we are going to switch to the corresponding lower time frame, meaning that from the monthly now we'll now go to the weekly, and by so doing, so when price fail the weekly higher low from the monthly supply zone, that's after we have switched from the monthly supply zone, now in the weekly supply zone. When price fail the higher low that tap into that monthly supply zone, we can now switch to the weekly, and then we can now observe that this higher low that fails is going to leave an extreme freshly weekly supply zone, which is then become our entry. This is just an explanation. We understand it with the pictorial representation. So in this scenario now, let's look at this chart. Looking at this schematics, we can see that this is a downtrend market, meaning the market is selling, making lower low, comes up again, making lower high, comes down again. So now, when it comes down, it has already left us with what? With a supply zone there on the monthly. As that happens, we now switch to the weekly time frame. So switching to the weekly time frame, when price now get to this monthly time frame, what do? On the weekly, we now observe that before price tap into this monthly supply zone, it has left us on the weekly time frame. It will leave an higher low. So after price has not tapped into that monthly supply zone, on the weekly now, you'll see that price will now come back to take out this higher low, and by so doing, it can leave us with what? With our weekly supply zone. So when weekly supply zone is there, we can now set our entry here to trade from this weekly supply zone, that price is going to come back and continue to sell, and our target is going to be on the monthly low point. All right, because in this scenario now, we are not trading just the monthly supply zone directory. We are waiting for what we call confirmation or continuation to trade with the monthly supply zone. We go to the weekly supply and see what happens there. So when the weekly higher low is not taken out, a supply zone that is going to be leaving at the top, that is where we are now going to set our trade and trade accordingly. I hope you understand this, and we can call this thing that will happen here when this higher low will be taken out on the weekly time frame. We can call it what? Change of character or change of direction. So it's called change of weekly market direction from buying to sell as price fade the weekly higher low. That's what I'm trying to say there. It's just some typing error here. So in this place, I mean the weekly higher low. All right, not the daily. So because we move from the monthly to the weekly. All right. So let's look at another example. On the daily, let's assume that as this market is selling, leaving us, and a lower low there, and then coming to the 4-hour time frame, we now see that when price tap on this daily supply zone on the 4-hour time frame, that because on the 4-hour time frame, the market will just be buying, until you now tap into this daily supply zone. When price tap into it, it can leave us with all this type of structure. When price just take out this low points on the 4-hour, is going to cause what we call 4-hour change from buying, and then we're going to be selling. And for us to sell, if price now leave a supply zone there on the 4-hour, is now on that 4-hour supply zone that we're going to be tagging along and selling the market. I hope you understand. And then our target is going to be on this on this daily low point, because once the price gets there, that is where we are going to be selling the market, and that's going to be our target. I hope you understand this. This is just very simple and easy to do, as I'm going to be using examples to collaborate all this information, so that by the time you see them on the chart, it will be very easy for you to follow up and use it to your advantage. All right, thank you.